Here's the scene. 4th of July weekend in Jackson, Mississippi. Heat wave so thick you can see it rising off the pavement. The whole block's at the Carter's cookout, ribs smoking, kids running through sprinklers, somebody's Bluetooth speaker blasting Otis Redding. There's a tent by the fence where a paramedic crew is doing free blood pressure checks. Community outreach thing. You sit down, roll up your sleeve. Your wife walks over. She's got a plate in one hand, sweet tea in the other, smiling at the neighbors. Then she says, loud enough for the whole yard to hear, check his pulse too. I'm not sure he has one. He's been on the couch since the shop closed. The paramedic freezes. The woman next to you pretends to check her phone. 2 guys at the grill look away. And your wife just stands there, that little half smile, like she told a joke everyone should laugh at. That's what happened to me. My name is Sheldon Kendrick. And the woman holding that sweet tea is my wife, Inez. I don't say anything. I sit there while the paramedic quietly finishes the reading. 118/76. Looks good, she says, and she can't meet my eyes. Neither can anyone else in that yard. Inez is already across the lawn, talking to her co-worker about the new title she just got, senior property manager. 3 months into the promotion, and she carries it like a crown. New blazer, new posture, new way of looking at me like I'm furniture she hasn't decided whether to keep. I'm 41. I was a mechanic at Dale's Auto on Northside Drive for 11 years. Good with my hands, good with people. The kind of guy who stays late to help someone who can't afford full price. 2 months ago, Dale couldn't keep up with the energy bills, Centerpoint kept raising rates, and the shop was bleeding money. He shut it down on a Tuesday. Didn't even have time to say goodbye properly. I walked out with a toolbox and a handshake. Inez and I have been married 13 years. There was a time she used to sit in the shop on Saturday mornings, legs swinging off the workbench, eating a breakfast burrito while I changed oil. She'd say, I married the only man in Mississippi who smells like motor oil and still makes me smile. That was a different person, or maybe a different version of the same one. I walk home from the cookout alone. She stays. I hear her laughing from 2 houses away, that high, performative laugh she saves for people she wants to impress. Monday morning. I'm at the kitchen table with my laptop, scrolling job listings. Inez comes in, pours coffee, doesn't pour me one. Any interviews? Got a call back from a fleet maintenance company in Brandon. Brandon. She says it like I said the moon. That's 40 minutes each way. It's a job, Inez. It's a lateral move into another garage. You know what my boss said when I got promoted? Inez, you've got executive energy. Maybe you should think bigger. I close the laptop. I'll think about it. She picks up her keys. Think fast. Because I can't carry this house alone forever. The door closes. I sit there. Coffee maker dripping. Her mug on the counter, lipstick on the rim. Mine's still in the cabinet. That's the thing about being patient. People mistake it for weakness. For 13 years, I've been the one who steps back, cools down, lets things pass. Inez raises her voice. I lower mine. She pushes. I give ground. Not because I'm weak. Because I decided a long time ago that peace in the house matters more than being right. But there's a difference between keeping the peace and disappearing. Wednesday evening. I'm making dinner, pan-seared chicken, rice, green beans. I hear her on the phone in the living room, talking to Della Hale. Della's a real estate agent Inez met at some networking coffee after the promotion. One coffee turned into weekly calls turned into Della becoming her personal advisor on everything from shoes to life decisions. He made me a playlist, Inez says. And she's laughing. Not warm laughing. The other kind. I stop stirring. Like a playlist. Of our old songs. Like we're in high school. I can't, Della. I literally cannot. I made that playlist Sunday night. Sat on the back porch going through songs we used to play on road trips. Sod, Maze, Frankie Beverly. Took me an hour. I sent it to her with a message. Remember these? She never replied. Now I know why. I hear her phone click. She's screenshotting it. Sending it. Is this pathetic or what? She says, reading her own text out loud. I turn off the stove. Walk to the back porch. Sit on the top step. July heat still pressing down even at 8 p.m. Cicadas screaming. Hands flat on my knees. Stay with me here, because the next part is where everything shifts. Thursday night. I write her a message. Not a text, a real message. I sit at the kitchen table and type it on my phone. 3 paragraphs. I tell her I love her. That I know I've been down since the shop closed, but I'm trying. That I want to work on us. I ask if we can have a real conversation, No phones, no distractions. Just talk like we used to. I send it. Watch the read receipt come through. She's in the living room. Silence. 10 minutes. 20. I walk in to say something, and her phone is face up on the kitchen counter. She's in the bathroom. The screen is still lit. My message is on the screen. Below it, her text to Della. Is this pathetic or what? And below that, Della's reply. Girl, you are so past this. He's drowning and trying to drag you down with him. You need to start thinking about your next chapter. I read it twice. 3 times. I pick up her phone and put it back exactly where it was. I don't sleep that night. I lie in bed next to her and stare at the ceiling fan going around and around. She's breathing steady, deep asleep. At some point around 2 a.m., I hear the neighbor's TV through the wall, some weather report about a polar vortex pushing down from Canada, snow warnings in the Northeast. Strange, hearing about blizzards while Jackson's still 90 degrees at midnight. Friday, Inez moves to the guest room. I need space, she says, carrying her pillow down the hall. Don't make this weird. That first night, I hear her on the phone with Della, laughing, not even trying to keep it down. The guest room shares a wall with the hallway. She knows I can hear her. I sit in the kitchen. Lights off. Ice water in my hand. The condensation dripping onto the table. Something in me has gone quiet. Not calm. Empty. Saturday morning, she comes into the kitchen like nothing happened. Makes herself an acai bowl. Scrolls her phone. You okay? She asks without looking up. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like you haven't slept. I said I'm fine, Inez. She shrugs. Suit yourself. What she doesn't know, what nobody knows, is that I have a Vanguard retirement account. Started it 9 years ago when Dale gave me a raise. Automatic deposits. Quiet money. I never told Inez because it never came up, and then it became the kind of thing that felt too late to mention. It's not a fortune, but it's mine. Sunday afternoon. I'm fixing the kitchen faucet, the one that's been dripping for 3 weeks. Got my tools laid out, head under the sink. Inez walks in, steps over my legs like they're a speed bump. I carry this house while you scroll Indeed in your underwear, she says. And now you're playing plumber. Do you know what my bonus was this quarter? I don't answer. Wrench on the fitting. Tighten. Done. Sheldon, I'm talking to you. I heard you. Then respond like an adult. I slide out from under the sink, stand up, wipe my hands on the towel. The faucet's fixed. She stares at me, waiting for the apology, the explanation, the peace offering. The thing I always give her. I put my tools away and walk to the garage. That's it, she calls after me. That's your response. It is. And she doesn't know what to do with it. Monday. She leaves the guest room door open and puts on a face mask, calls her mother. Loud. He's impossible, Mama. I try to talk, and he just shuts down. I don't know how much longer I can do this. But I notice something. She keeps glancing at the hallway while she talks, making sure I hear. The performance isn't for her mother. It's for me. Every word is a chess move, calculated to make me feel guilty enough to come apologize, to come back to the old pattern. I don't. Tuesday night. She tries a different angle. I'm reading at the kitchen table, a mechanic certification manual, studying for a diesel specialization. She sits down across from me. No phone. No edge in her voice. What are you reading? Diesel cert. That's smart. Brandon would pay more for diesel, right? Probably. She's quiet for a moment. Then, I miss us, Sheldon. The way we used to be. And this is the cruelty of hope, because part of me, the part that remembers breakfast burritos in the shop, wants to reach across the table and hold her hand. But I've seen the texts. I've heard the calls. I know what happens after these moments. She reports them to Della like a hunter counting down a deer. I miss us too, I say, and I mean it. But I also mean something she can't hear. I miss the version of us that doesn't exist anymore. The following week, Inez's company throws a summer mixer at a rooftop bar downtown. Small plates, string lights, the whole production. She tells me I'm coming. It looks bad if you don't show. We drive there in silence. She's in a new dress I've never seen. When we walk in, her boss crosses the room to greet her. Inez puts her hand on my shoulder, the first time she's touched me in weeks, and says, David, this is my roommate. She says it with a smile, like it's a joke. Her co-workers laugh. One woman tilts her head like she's not sure she heard right. I'm standing there holding 2 glasses of sparkling water. One for her, one for me. Roommate. David says, looking at me. She means husband. I say. Right, Inez says. Same thing lately. More laughter. I set her glass on the nearest table and walked to the balcony. The city spread out below, the Capitol dome lit up, traffic on State Street. My phone buzzes with a news alert about the Senate passing a housing bill. Someone's trying to fix the housing crisis. Good luck with that. I stand there 15 minutes. Nobody comes to check on me. That's the part that stays. Here's where things turn. Tuesday. I'm driving home from a second interview at the Fleet Company. My phone rings. Inez's name. I pick up. Hey. Nothing. Background noise. Car door closing. Then her voice, but not to me. Already talked to a lawyer. I just need him to sign. He won't fight. He never fights. Della's voice. And the house. He'll cave. He always does. I told my attorney, one conversation, maybe two. Sheldon's not going to contest anything. You know him. And if he does? Inez laughs. Sheldon? Fight. The man made me a playlist, Della. He writes love letters. He's not going to suddenly grow a spine. Okay, so the house, you keep it, sell it? I've been looking at those listings you sent. There's a one-bedroom on Eastover. Perfect for him. Small, clean, affordable on whatever he ends up making. I'll suggest it gently. He'll think it was his idea. I pull over. Engine running. The guy on the radio is talking about Vanguard index funds outperforming. I almost laugh. Almost. I sit there listening for another 4 minutes. She lays it all out. The house. The accounts. The timeline. Della feeds her lines like a coach prepping a press conference. Then Inez says, "Oh, shoot. Did I call someone?" Fumbling. The line goes dead. Pocket dial. She called me by accident and laid her entire exit strategy on the table. That night, I don't go home right away. I drive past the reservoir. Park at the overlook. City lights below, flat and orange. Phone in my hand. I dial Hank Joyner. Hank's been my closest friend since 10th grade. Truck driver, straight talker, the kind of man who shows up with a wrench and a cooler and doesn't leave until the problem's fixed. She's planning to take the house. I tell him. She already has a lawyer. She thinks I won't fight. Long pause. What do you need? I need to know what I'm dealing with. I know a lawyer, Hank says. Jerome Upshaw. Good man. And I know someone who can find out exactly what she's been doing. PI named Perline Inman. Let me make some calls. Hank. I can't afford. Did I ask you about money? I asked you what you need. 3 days later. I'm sitting across from Jerome Upshaw in a small office on Capitol Street. Reading glasses, quiet voice. The kind of patience that makes you think he's heard every version of this story. The house, he says, flipping through documents. You bought it before the marriage? 2 years before. My grandmother left me the down payment. Titles in your name? Just mine. Jerome takes his glasses off. Sheldon, this house is separate property under Mississippi law. She can make claims about improvements, contributions, but the title is yours. Premarital asset. She doesn't know that. Most people don't know what they don't know. That's what I'm for. He looks at the bank statements. What about the joint account? She's been making withdrawals. Bigger ones each month. We'll need documentation. Every withdrawal, every transfer. Dates, amounts, destinations. That's where Perline comes in. Former police officer, now private investigator. Hank hires her himself. Won't tell me what it costs. Consider it 13 years of birthday presents, he says. Within 2 weeks, Perline has everything. The withdrawals, documented with dates and amounts. Inez's conversations with Della about property strategy, noted and time-stamped. The apartment listings Della sends weekly, 1 bedrooms picked out for me, not for Inez. The whole architecture of the exit plan, mapped out on paper, I never would have believed if I hadn't heard the pocket dial myself. Meanwhile, Inez is still performing. And this is the part that almost broke me. Saturday morning. She comes into the kitchen, touches my arm, first time in weeks. I've been thinking, she says. Maybe we should go to that Italian place on Fortification. Like we used to. I look at her. The soft eyes. The gentle voice. And for a moment, one stupid, hopeful moment, I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the phone call was just venting. Maybe Della's the poison, not Inez. Maybe my wife is still in there somewhere. Sure, I say. Let's go. Dinner is almost beautiful. She asks about the Fleet interview. She listens, actually listens, or does a version of it so good I can't tell the difference. She orders the wine we used to share, reaches across the table and holds my hand, and her fingers are warm, and I remember why I fell in love with this woman in the first place. I'm sorry about the cookout, she says quietly. That was wrong of me. I was stressed about the promotion and I took it out on you. That's not who I want to be. I squeeze her hand. Thank you for saying that. She smiles. And I believe it. I do. Sunday morning. I wake up and she's already on the phone. Guest room door cracked open. Della on speaker. So the dinner worked? Like a charm, Inez says. He was practically glowing. Held my hand the whole time. I give it 2 weeks before I bring up the apartment idea again. Soften him up first. Smart. And the joint account? Moved another $2,000 yesterday. He doesn't check it. I'm standing in the hallway, barefoot on the hardwood. I can see the edge of her phone through the crack in the door. Twice now. Twice I believed her. The message on the counter. The Italian dinner. Both performances. Both choreographed with Della before and debriefed with Della after. I was the audience both times, and I gave a standing ovation both times. I walked to the kitchen. Pour coffee. My hands are steady. Something has shifted, not anger, not sadness. Clarity. The kind that arrives when you finally stop hoping for something that isn't coming back. I don't plan what happens next. I just stop reaching. Monday. She asks if I want to watch something together. I'm good, I say, and go to the garage. Wednesday. She makes dinner, actually cooks, not orders in. Sets 2 places. Candles again. I eat. Thank her for the food, clear my plate, and go to the bedroom to read. You didn't even taste it, she says from the kitchen doorway. It was good. Thank you. That's it. I spent an hour on that. And I appreciate it. Good night, Inez. She stands there for 10 seconds. I can feel her searching for the crack, the place where the old Sheldon would have said sorry, would have sat back down, would have given her something to work with. But the crack isn't there anymore. Not because I sealed it. Because I ran out of material to fill it with. Friday. I come home from the fleet company. They offered me the position. Diesel specialist. Start in 2 weeks. I don't tell Inez. I tell Hank. Proud of you, brother, he says. Saturday night. Inez is in the living room when I walk through. She's watching some reality show, but her eyes follow me. You're different, she says. Different how? I don't know. Distant. Cold. I'm not cold. I'm just not chasing you anymore. That lands. I can see it land. Her jaw tightens, and for a half second, she looks like she's going to say something real, something honest, but then the mask slides back on. Whatever, Sheldon. Keep doing whatever this is. 2 days later. Inez sits me down at the kitchen table. Careful voice. Rehearsed. I think we should talk about the future. Okay. Maybe you should start looking at apartments. Just to have options. For both of us. She slides her phone across the table. Listings. 1 bedrooms. Eastover, Belhaven, Fondren. All from Della. Options, I repeat. It's healthy to think about what comes next. You want me to move out of my own house. Our house. And I'm not saying move out. I'm saying look. I push the phone back. I'll think about it. She nods. Satisfied. Like a manager who just handled a tricky employee review. What she doesn't know, Jerome has already filed preliminary paperwork. Perline's documentation sits in a folder in Jerome's office. Every withdrawal, every listing, every conversation. The house title. The premarital asset claim. The Vanguard account Inez has no idea exists. She built her entire exit strategy on 5 words. He never fights back. Thursday. I stop my usual run at 5 a.m. Don't drive to the Overlook. Instead, I end up at the hospital. Not sick, not visiting anyone. I just need a place where no one expects anything from me. Fluorescent lights. Vending machine humming. Magazines from 3 months ago fanned across a table. A man across the aisle is on his phone. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. No, you're right. Over and over. His voice getting smaller each time, like someone slowly turning down the volume on a person. I watch him, and something clicks into place so hard I feel it in my chest. I've said those exact words 1,000 times. Not because Inez was right, because I was terrified of what her silence meant. Every time I gave in, I told myself I was keeping us together. I wasn't. I was teaching her that I'd never stop her, that my patience was unlimited, that she could take anything, say anything, mock anything, and I'd still be on that couch when she got home. Hank finds me there, doesn't ask what's wrong, sits down, hands me a coffee from the machine. Bad coffee. Best coffee I've had in weeks. Perline's got everything, he says. Jerome says you're ready whenever you are. I'm ready. You sure? Hank, I'm ready. He nods. We sit there for a while, watching people come and go through the automatic doors. A nurse pushes an old man in a wheelchair past us, and the old man is holding a woman's hand. She's walking beside him, silver-haired, squeezing his fingers. They don't say anything. They don't need to. 13 years. That's how long I gave to a woman who turned my love letters into group chat entertainment. Intimacy isn't the most important thing in life, Sheldon. Grow up. That's what she says the next evening when I try to sit close to her on the couch. Then, 40 minutes later through the guest room wall, I hear her tell Della. He doesn't even touch me anymore. It's like living with a ghost. She shuts the door and then complains it's closed. You know that feeling when the contradiction is so clean, so perfectly circular, that you can't even be angry? You just see the machine for what it is. The following Saturday, Inez decides to throw a dinner party. A fresh start celebration, she calls it. Invites Della, 2 co-workers, and, here's the part, a potential buyer Della found for the property. My property. The one titled in my name. Table set for 6. Linen napkins. Candles. She puts on Sod, our music. The same songs from the playlist she mocked. Guests arrive. Della first, all confidence and business cards. She shakes my hand like I'm the valet. Sheldon, the place looks amazing. Inez has really made it special. Coworkers file in. Then a man I don't recognize, pressed shirt, notepad tucked in his back pocket. The buyer. Dinner starts. Wine flows. Inez is radiant. The hostess, the executive, the woman who has it all figured out. She talks about the neighborhood, the square footage, the potential for the right buyer. The doorbell rings at 7:45. Inez frowns. I didn't invite anyone else. I did, I say. I open the door. Jerome Upshaw walks in. Gray suit, leather briefcase, the quiet authority of a man who does this for a living. Everyone, I say. This is my attorney, Jerome Upshaw. The table goes silent. Della's wine glass stops halfway to her lips. Jerome sets his briefcase on the sideboard. Opens it. No rush. Mrs. Kendrick, he says, I'll be brief. The home we're sitting in was purchased by Sheldon Kendrick 2 years before the marriage, funded by an inheritance. Title is in his name alone. Under Mississippi law, this is separate property. Inez's face shifts. Not anger, confusion. Like someone changed the channel while she was watching. Additionally, Jerome says, we have documentation of withdrawals from the joint account totaling over $14,000 in 6 weeks. All transferred to an account solely in your name. That's household money. I was managing expenses. You were moving marital funds into a personal account while planning to force your husband out of his own home. We have every date, every amount. Della stands. I think this is incredibly inappropriate. Miss Hale. Jerome says, same level tone. We also have records of your involvement in coordinating this strategy. The apartment listings you selected from Mr. Kendrick. The conversations planning the timeline. You're welcome to discuss that with your own attorney. Della sits down. Color gone from her face. Inez switches tactics like channels on a remote. First, anger. You had no right to do this. This is my home too. 13 years. 13 years where I paid the mortgage from a job you mocked at a cookout. I say. She stops. Recalculates. Then, tears. Real ones, maybe. Or the best imitation I've ever seen. Sheldon, please. I was scared. The promotion, the pressure, I didn't know how to talk to you anymore. Della was the only one who listened. Della was the one who helped you plan this. There's a difference between listening and strategizing. And then, the warm voice. The Italian restaurant voice. The one that almost worked. Twice. Baby, she says. Soft. Almost tender. Let's just talk about this privately. We don't need all these people. We can figure this out. Just you and me. Like we used to. You told Della my love letter was pathetic. My voice is level. The steadiest it's been in months. You turned our songs into a screenshot. You introduced me as your roommate in front of your coworkers. You were apartment shopping for me, in my own house. Sheldon, I heard every word of that pocket dial, Inez. Every word. He won't fight. He never fights. You were right about that. For a long time, you were right. Her eyes fill. The coworkers are frozen. The buyer quietly closes his notepad and excuses himself. Those words are on the record now, I say, along with everything else. She opens her mouth, closes it, tries again. I didn't mean, yeah, you did. The silence has weight, physical weight. The candles she lit flicker in the draft from the open front door. Sod is still playing, no ordinary love, and the irony is so sharp it cuts. Stella takes her purse and leaves without a word. The co-workers follow. The buyer is already gone. Inez stands alone in the dining room. Table set for 6. Food getting cold. Napkins folded into shapes nobody will use. I walk past her to the bedroom. Pack a bag. Where are you going? She asks from the doorway. Small voice. Smaller than I've ever heard it. Somewhere quiet. For how long? I don't know. But I'm done being the man who never fights. You made sure of that. Next morning, Inez comes downstairs and finds a Vanguard statement on the kitchen counter. The retirement account she never knew existed, moved weeks ago, protected, clean, beyond her reach in any filing. My truck is gone from the overlook by the reservoir. The spot where I used to sit and wonder what happened to my marriage. Radio's off. She told the paramedic to check my pulse. Turns out it was beating the whole time. She just stopped listening for it. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.